Behind the Red Line, Episode 30. Heather Saul and the Man Who Came to Kill Her. Some men come to buy sex. Some men come to take it. And some men come to kill. On July 18th, 2015, a middle-aged drifter named Neal Falls knocked on the door of a Charleston, West Virginia apartment. He brought no flowers, no cash, no condoms. He brought duct tape, axe blades, handcuffs, knives, garbage bags, bleach, and a loaded handgun. This wasn't a date. This wasn't a transaction. This was a murder. But the man who had spent years stalking, hunting, and killing women made one fatal mistake. He chose the wrong woman. Her name was Heather Saul, and she refused to die. What happened inside that apartment would expose one of America's most mysterious, suspected serial killers, and reveal how many women he may have murdered long before he ever reached Heather's door. This is Behind the Red Line. Episode 30, The Woman Who Killed Her Killer. Neal Falls was the kind of man who lived in shadows. He drifted from state to state, never settling, never letting people get close, working odd jobs, armed security, maintenance, private contracting, jobs that kept him moving, jobs that didn't require questions. He had no wife, no kids, no close friends, no life anyone could point to. But he had one clear obsession: sex workers and killing them. Police later described him as a serial predator. Some believe he may have murdered as many as 20 to 25 women across the Midwest. But in 2015, he wasn't a headline. He was just a quiet man with a suitcase full of murder tools, driving toward his next victim. Charleston wasn't the kind of city where you expected serial killers to drift through. It was small, quiet, industrial, the kind of place where the streets were empty by midnight. But to women in survival sex work, the dangers were the same as any big city: violent clients, trafficking, addiction, men who got angry when they didn't get what they wanted, men who saw marginalized women as disposable. Heather Saul knew all of this. She had survived rough nights. She'd survived aggressive men. She'd survived addiction. She'd survived homelessness. She was tough, smart, street-aware. But nothing prepared her for the man who stepped through her doorway that July afternoon, July 18th, 2015. Heather was alone in her apartment. Bills due, rent overdue, phone lighting up from clients. One number felt new, not familiar, but Heather needed the money. She gave him her address. There are moments in life when your intuition screams, and this was one of them. But survival isn't always about intuition. Sometimes it's about necessity. A knock, a deep breath, a slow turn of the doorknob. Heather opened the door, and Neal Falls walked inside. Heather barely had time to register his face before the gun was in her mouth. He forced her back, dragged her by the throat, shoved her into her kitchen, and said 9 words she would never forget. Live or die. What's it going to be? Then he added, You're going to be number 11. Number 11, not the first, not the only. A number, a count, a kill list. Heather's adrenaline spiked. Her vision tunneled. Her body shifted into pure survival mode. Falls threw her onto the floor, started choking her. The gun pressed into her cheek, his weight crushing her ribs, and Heather made the decision that saved her life. With a free hand, she reached for the only weapon within reach, his gun. She grabbed it, pulled it toward herself, pulled the trigger. One shot, point blank. His blood hit the floor before his body did. Heather gasped, coughed, shook, and realized she had just killed him. Not murder, survival. When police arrived, the scene stunned them. On the floor, Neal Falls, dead from a single gunshot. Next to his body, a kill kit straight out of a horror movie. Items included bulletproof vest, 4 sets of handcuffs, knives, axes, sledgehammer, bleach, garbage bags, a machete, restraints, a list of names and numbers, and a trunk full of plastic tarps. This wasn't a client who snapped. This was a man who came prepared. Police didn't stop a crime scene that night. They stopped a serial killing in progress. When detectives ran Neal Falls's background, they realized he had lived in Nevada, Indiana, Kentucky, Oregon, Texas, and Kansas. Nearly every place he lived, sex workers had gone missing. The disappearances matched body dump sites, travel patterns, victim types, timelines, communication methods, Craigslist activity, geographic proximity to his jobs, cases connected directly or loosely. Nevada 4 women missing between 2003 and 2006, now believed to be among his victims. Ohio, the Chillicothe 6. 6 women missing or murdered between 2014 to 2015. Illinois, Oregon, Arizona. Bodies found near interstate truck routes he traveled. He had no family, no witnesses, no digital trail. He was a perfect predator, But Heather ended his story before he could end hers. After the investigation, something rare happened. Police publicly declared Heather Saul a hero. They said she did exactly what she had to do, that she prevented multiple murders, that her decision saved countless lives. Women from across the country began calling law enforcement saying, "I think he tried to kill me. I think I escaped him once. I recognize that man." Heather didn't just act bravely. Her survival broke open one of the most terrifying, unknown serial killers in America. But heroism comes with scars. Heather later admitted, "I still see his face every time I close my eyes." Neal Falls chose women like Heather because society doesn't protect sex workers. Police often ignore violence against them. Their disappearances rarely make headlines. Predators believe no one will come looking. Falls wasn't killing randomly. He was hunting systematically. He used escort ads, online postings, hotel meetups, isolated apartments, rural dump sites. He targeted women he thought no one cared about. But he was wrong. One woman cared enough to fight back, and she won. Heather Saul didn't just escape Neal Falls. She ended him. She stopped a killer who moved like a ghost, who hunted women in silence, who carried a kill kit across America, and believed he was unstoppable. He never expected his last victim to fight harder than he did. Heather survived the unimaginable, and she made sure no other woman ever had to face him. This is Behind the Red Line, Episode 30, The Woman Who Killed Her Killer.